All right, folks, y'all, we're live.
Welcome, folks.
And it did paste. Okay, are we good?
Hasn't come up on YouTube just yet.
Okay, mine did. We've got 5 people watching us right now? Are you serious with me right now, Michael? All right, y'all.
Okay, it's showing me. We're good.
All right. We're going to go ahead and get this thing started. We've got 5 people watching. I'm going to make sure my chat's going, but we are awesome today.
Yes, excellent. Yeah, test chat. See how we're doing.
Okay. So,
welcome to everybody in chat.
Okay, so here we go. All right. So,
chat is always one of those things that's a technical difficulty no matter what we try to do, right?
Yep. Let me go speech chat. All right.
It's a nice, pretty day here in Austin.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Techopolis episode. I am not Michael at all. And you're probably thinking, why am I introducing this stream? This is all about Michael. It is all about Michael. But I am going to be moderating. So my name is Taylor. And I am going to be moderating. And we're going to learn all about Michael today. So it's going to be an awesome stream. So I've got some questions lined up. But I'm sure that y'all in chat are going to also have questions for me. And so if you do, please feel free to put them in the chat. And I will address them. But hello, Michael.
Hey, everyone. It's good to be here. I feel like we just did this, but, kind of similarly last weekend on your channel.
Yes, we did.
So, well, that was kind of fun. And, we had a lot of questions. So I'm excited about today.
Yeah, so if anyone is in chat, say hi. That would be awesome. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So, I just want to make sure my chat was working pretty okay. And it is. All right. So, Michael, the first question I have for you is, we're just going to kind of start simple, right? So, where did you grow up? And just kind of tell me a little bit about yourself.
So, I grew up here in Texas. A lot of people think I'm from Austin, but that is not actually the case. I am from a place called Southeast Texas, east of Houston. Some people may say, can you go east of Houston? I didn't know there was such a thing.
I didn't either. But of course, I'm not from Texas.
Right. But you can. There's a bit of a distance, to drive between Houston and Louisiana. And so I'm from Southeast Texas, and I started by living in a town called Port Neches. And I lived in a bunch of little towns over in that area, but I was raised there. I went to high school at the Port Neches Groves, or as they call it, PNG High School. I graduated from there. My family is, I still have family from there, and from throughout, the state now. But I grew up there, learned all about programming and everything I do while living in Southeast Texas. And then, but during the summers, I came up to Austin, and that's a whole different story. But I grew up in Southeast Texas. There wasn't a lot to do, so I turned 18. I said, all right, time to go out where I can, be effective and actually live my life, where I can get around and do the things I want to do. And, and that's not to say that family, didn't, take me places I wanted to go, but it's a different thing just to be able to say, I'm going to get on a bus and go somewhere. And back at the time, living in Austin, the buses were free. So, for if you were disabled, and I think they were a quarter for everybody else.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is nuts. Yeah, that is awesome. So we already have some chatters, and speech chat is reading incredibly slow. So for those who don't know, speech chat is what we use to read out the text-to-speech for our chats for YouTube. But man, at least we got that going today, but it's reading super slow.
I kind of forgot about that part. You can configure that to be faster. So we'll
it's okay. We're going to make it work. So, the question that we got from Doug Oliver is, okay. If I can actually, I know it'll read it out loud, but, what is your favorite artist or band?
Oh, favorite artist or band? That is a hard question. That is a very hard question. There's so many. I think one of my favorite artists growing up had to be Metallica. I love the heavy rock sound of things. You know, when sometimes when you're programming or writing code or things like that, it's good to have music on or something to kind of put you in the zone of working. And, so Metallica was always kind of that. But Linkin Park back in the day was one of mine. But there's a lot of other bands. I've gotten so much into dubstep and what's the term? Like a lot of the dance, electronic sounding stuff. That I can't really say I have a favorite anymore. It's very, over time, people's tastes in music change, and it's very interesting. Where, what I liked in high school is very different from what I really like now. So.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. So kind of going along with music and other things, what is your favorite hobbies?
So favorite hobbies, obviously writing computer code. I get to do that for a job now. I love doing that. And so I get to write computer code for work and for fun. And I get to share that passion with others, which is why, I always love hanging out with Taylor here, because we can talk computer code and, we were working on some Google Workspace stuff, just hanging out, working on that. And that's fun. Right?
Yeah. And showing how remote control with Zoom.
Yeah. We were playing with, we've always used TeamViewer. To do where one of us could control the other person's computer. But Zoom has this remote control feature now, and it's just amazing. And yeah, that's how we were spending our day, just kind of working on some of that stuff. So it's very interesting, But as far as other hobbies, I really enjoy being outside and just enjoying, at least if it's not 100 degrees or below 40 degrees. The weather can't decide here in Texas if it wants to do one or the other. And I wish it would, I can stay inside for the 100-degree weather days, but when we have those snowstorms, that kind of makes it difficult. But I love walking around and going to different places, sightseeing. I love that kind of stuff. I'm also I love to swim. I love being in the pool. It's one of my favorite things. I'm also a collector, so I like to collect. I don't like to have it take up a lot of space, but one of the things I collect is rocks. I love shiny things. So I have a lot of crystals, a lot of, very, and it's actually kind of a carryover. My grandmother was a rock collector, and she brought stuff back from all over the place. And there's actually some stores here in Austin that I've increased my collection at. So I will occasionally go to those places and get, additions to my collection. So, I love collecting things, neat things. But at the same time, I'm a minimalist. And so that's kind of paradoxical. But I love all that kind of shiny stuff. Other hobbies, I love, I really enjoy photography. I have a good Canon camera that I really love to use to take pictures. The funny thing is, though, the best camera, though, these days is starting to be our iPhones and our Pixel phones and our Samsung phones. They're doing as much stuff as some of these digital cameras that we have, and that's amazing to me. So sometimes it's neat just seeing what kind of good images we can take, what kind of photos, and just finding good places to take photos. And I also love teaching photography. Like, I've taught people that are blind how to take photos before, and that's a lot of fun to me. So, photography is another hobby. And I also love video games. I love video games, the stories, the being in control of the character, doing what they do, all those things. And that reading is another one. I am a book reader. If you find me on Goodreads, you'll see over 400 and something books that I've read throughout my life. Those are my major hobbies. And I do love my TV shows too, as have Apple TV and a lot of other things. And so just all the hobbies. I do a lot of stuff.
That is a lot, and we've gotten some chatters. So
cool.
Let's see. Fantastic Wit 84. I think she's making a statement. Says EDM and trap music.
Yes, EDM. That was what I was thinking. Yes.
Okay. I was like, and then we also have Asajev Warpclaw says, what is your favorite Japanese anime and favorite character?
Anime. I figured he would ask this question. I think my favorite anime would have to be Ghost in the Shell. Of course, it has to do with technology, of course. I think the major in that one is awesome. Just great characters, good animes. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we don't have any more chatters, but I've got some more questions.
Awesome.
So let's see. My next question is, so what kind of, let me try that again. So what are your favorite foods?
Favorite foods. I am a foodie, so this is going to take a minute.
Okay, that's fine.
I love Cajun food. I love Louisiana style cooking. That is my favorite stuff. It's spicy. It's usually really hot. And, it's interesting because you'd think that like gumbo and things like that would actually be very popular for people that are from up north, like that are from snowy areas, because it is a hot meal. A lot of jambalaya, red beans and rice, they're usually hot meals. Some are, spicy, some are not. And so those are all really my favorites. But I will love, if it's made well, I also love Italian food. I love fettuccine alfredo, spaghetti, pizzas. I love all that stuff. And then that's kind of tied with Mexican style food. So enchiladas are my favorite. I love tamales and fajitas, all of that kind of stuff. I'm not a picky person, but I love Chinese style food, and I've even had Japanese and Vietnamese style cuisines, and I like them as well. But my favorite has to be the Louisiana style, because that's I grew up very close to there.
Right, that makes sense.
So that's all my favorite.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. So we got a note from Asajeff, says you might want to fix your lighting. It seems like there is outside light reflecting on your face. So
yes, there is.
I just thought I'd say that, but
yes, the sun is coming in at an angle because it was cloudy, and there's not much we can really do about it.
Nope. So I'm just gonna continue. I just thought I'd mention that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was kind of rainy and all that, and so it's kind of clearing out, and so the sun is actually at that part of the year where it just is going to shine in the window.
Yep. So, okay. That is awesome. So, we don't have any more chatters, but like I said, I definitely have some more questions lined up. So that is awesome. So, what made you want to start a YouTube channel?
So what made me want to start a YouTube channel? That's actually a great question. I've done podcasting since 2015.
Yep.
And I've enjoyed podcasting. But I feel like doing video is kind of the next thing to try.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing video and game streaming, I thought would be really interesting to get into. And I just feel like there's such a market there because there's a lot more discoverability on YouTube because there's the algorithm and things like that. Whereas a podcast, you actually have to self-promote and things like that. Whereas YouTube, and that's something a lot of people don't think about. A podcast, it does get, if you're lucky, Apple may feature it or somebody may feature it. But on YouTube, if you do the right work and put in the effort, you could have a video that goes viral because of the algorithm. And that's pretty incredible when you really think about it. It's like you're not worried about, having to do all the promotions because if you do things right just on the platform, not even like with Twitter, Facebook, social media, if you do things right, you can get noticed just by putting out good content. And that's pretty remarkable if you think about it.
Yeah, that is awesome. And like I said, probably part of it had to do with that I started my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that also gave you some motivation to do it for yourself.
Yep.
So, okay. Our next question, again, comes from myself. And that is, what is your favorite color?
Blue. All the blues. And if it's shiny and sparkly, I love it.
Is it because you can see it better?
I think so. I think it's because I can see it better, but also kind of brings attention to it. So, like the Apple Watches. I love the stainless steel watches because they have a shine to them that the aluminum ones do not have.
Right.
Even though the aluminum watches can be in blue and different colors, the steel watches just have that shine that the aluminum ones don't have. So I always go, I love blue and I like colors like gold and things like that. But when it's metal or tech, I always go for the shiniest thing.
Makes sense. Yeah, so kind of going along with that, kind of talking about other areas, I guess, from colors and just going on a little bit beyond the basics. And move the chat. Okay, so we got a question about podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
And Fantasticwit84 says, did you, when you podcasted, do multi-platform like the Anchor app or others where you could share across multi-platforms?
Great question. So we started with my first podcast was just on Apple, and it was just me recording it on the IAcast, and I did 5 episodes, and then I did an episode recorded completely on the Apple Watch, and actually we were talking in Clubhouse yesterday, and I think I'm gonna do a follow up to that and say when the Series 7 comes out and say this is where the Apple Watches come in all that time, and basically it was just put up on, believe it or not, at the time, and Taylor's gonna cringe when I say this, it was put up on a Squarespace website.
Oh, Michael.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
That didn't last very long. And then I moved it to WordPress.
Yep, better decision.
And then I used Blueberry PowerPress, which is a podcasting plugin for WordPress. Then we started getting more folks on the podcast, and then it was still only on Apple because that was kind of the main aggregator at the time. I looked at when they came out, Anchor and all these other Google Play and all that, and I just thought, you know what, they're mostly, a lot of people are still aggregating from Apple, and so I decided to just stick with that. And then later on, I moved to Libsyn, and that was a lot of money.
I'm sure.
For hosting. But the reason why we looked at that was because they offered an app in the App Store that you didn't have to make, and which turned out not to be that good from what I hear for accessibility. And sure also an Amazon A-Lady skill. And if you should know what A-Lady is by now, if you heard me talk. Because I'm sure everybody has them, and if I say the word, it will wake them all up.
Yep, and we do not want to do that, because I've got 2 of them around here. So.
Yeah, me too. I have 3 now enabled in the apartment. So.
Oh, man.
Basically, when we went to Libsyn, it was for that reason, but that was expensive. And so, later on, we found one called Pinecast. And Pinecast offered the ability to send them to Apple, Google Play, and Spotify, and there's TuneIn at the time. I don't know if it still does.
Yep. You can still submit stuff to TuneIn. I did that a couple days ago.
So yeah, all the different services, and that's really kind of neat.
That is awesome. So, another question that I came up with, just, for myself, is how much sight do you have?
Great question. So, I'm looking at my window.
Okay.
And so, in front of my window, I can see that I have a lamp. I have a lampshade, but because of how the light's hitting it, I can see the lampshade, but not the details of it. I'm looking out the window. I could see through the blinds because they're open. I could see the building across from me. There's trees in front of it because there's green. That's, how I can tell that. There's also a I know that there is a little pond across from there to the right of the building, but I can't see. I don't think it's seeable, but I just know it's there. I could see a car that just went by, couldn't tell you the color, 2 cars, and that there's a building off to my right, but that's all I could see. I could see there's a phone on my desk. I can't read anything from this distance, even on my computer. I could see where I'm looking, but I can't see any of my facial features from the distance that I'm looking at the camera, which is about 1.5, 2 feet. I could see the TV behind my my laptop here, but I couldn't read anything on it, and I could see there's a microphone. Basically, I'm giving you guys an example of what I'm able to see in my current surroundings. And I have what's called 20/800 vision, which means what somebody can see normally has to be enlarged 800 times for me to see the same. So that is my total visual acuity. It's never changed because I have a condition called optic nerve hypoplasia. If you see me on YouTube, you probably see that my eyes move a lot. So it's called nystagmus, and it's a pretty common condition. It usually comes with it several other things, not issues, but things that come along with it, like as far as how the body develops. But I was pretty lucky on that scale. But also I can see text if it's blown up to about 18 point in print. I have to get really, really, really close to it, but I can see it. If I want to read it far away, it needs to be about like size. If I want to read it in regular distance, maybe 48, maybe bigger.
It's probably 72.
Maybe. and I use pretty large magnification on my computer. When I was young, though, I didn't use magnification at all, and I was always seen squinting at monitors, being up as close as I can to read them. Same with cell phones. So when the iPhone came out and had pinch to zoom for email and web, that was a game changer, and I can do so much more with that. So
Yeah, that's, like I said, it's funny because we both have the same visual condition. So, it's kind of, we both have the same vision, not the same vision problem, but definitely same issues. And that's kind of why I wanted to ask the question. So, another question, again, for myself is, are you a cane or a guide dog user?
cane user. I carry a heavy, very heavy graphite cane I got from Ambutech. And because I can't be standard, I can't be typical, I got a colored cane. And this thing is a solid blue cane. Even the handle, the golf club handle, is blue. And it's like a 64, 66 maybe, or taller inch cane, and has a white roller ball on the end. And I use it mainly for two reasons. One is for identification, so people know, hey, if that guy's looking kind of strange over there, it's because he is legally blind. And I like the term legally blind because it says that I'm not totally blind, but I'm past the legal point of blindness. So it says that he is legally blind, and it also helps me determine if there's going to be a curb coming up.
Yep.
So that's the main reason why I use a cane.
Okay, so we got into a question about Minecraft. And
Okay.
do you use the textured Minecraft pack? Not sure who created it. Someone else who is visually impaired, or what other modifications do you make for gameplay?
Great question. When I play games, I don't change a lot of settings. It might actually help me to do that, but
Probably. I said probably. Well,
Probably.
Yeah.
But I like the original authenticity of the game. So there are mods for all kinds of games to make them look better, change how they look. I try my best to play them with the built-in, things. I may tweak settings in the resolution and things like that to see what I can do. But the reason is I grew up playing games without having any modification, so I try to stick with that because I like to keep the game as authentic as possible. But also, one of the things that I found is that I really enjoy playing games on my Xbox. And the reason for that is that the Xbox has a different version of Windows Magnifier, and or just Magnifier. I'm pretty sure the Xbox is running a version of Windows, but the magnifier on there is able to, no matter what the game does, the magnifier on Xbox is able to completely override any mouse or resolution that the game has and allow you to magnify the screen. There's a lot of games these days that are doing something where when they get the mouse focus, they pull it away from Windows. And so I will turn on magnification and go to move the mouse to do, drag something in and out of inventory, and the mouse will go completely off screen. So that is completely ineffective for what I'm trying to do with, playing the game, because for one thing, I can't see what I'm trying to do anymore because, bad programming. Microsoft with Minecraft and other games have done an amazing job. And there's a lot of, I believe the Doom games actually do this correctly, and a lot of others. But a lot of my favorite games, like the new Diablo 2 Resurrected, most of the time magnifier works until you try to get something out of your inventory. and Phantasy Star Online 2 and New Genesis all do this mouse thing where you click on something or just zooming in and it moves the mouse off screen. Same with Satisfactory. That is a fun game, but it causes problems when I can't, enlarge things. Satisfactory has UI scaling, which is great. It makes it where I can read stuff, but then it cuts its own text off the screen, so that's not really effective either.
All right, that is awesome. Not that it gets cut off, but that you're able to do that as normally as possible. So another question that I have is, how did you become blind?
The optic nerve hypoplasia that I talked about earlier is from birth. Okay. And so my visual condition happened while I was in the womb and developing. So that's how that happened.
Okay. Yeah, and that's, like I said, definitely, interesting. Like I said, I was also blind from birth as well. So lots of similarities there. Okay. So the next question that I had was, did you go to a school for the blind, or were you fully integrated?
Great question. Am I breaking out, or am I still here?
You're still here. Why, is your internet having issues?
You were breaking for just a moment, so I was like, oh no, let's...
Wait, I was breaking?
Yeah, you were breaking.
Well, thanks to college kids that live next to me.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't my internet. My internet, folks, has already gone out twice today.
Yep, so we have that.
Just wanted to check. School for the Blind. I went during the summers. And what integrated means is that I was integrated into the public school system and went to regular schools. And I did. I went to regular schools every year until I graduated. And I'm really glad that that was the case for me. I'm glad that I had the chance to do that, but I'm also glad that I had the chance to go during the summers. Because those years, I always looked, I would leave the School for the Blind and look forward to going back. A lot of people in a lot of different states are not as lucky as we are in Texas, because a lot of the schools for the blind are not as well equipped and friendly and personal and personable as the Texas School for the Blind. They're a world-renowned school, and their staff is just the most patient, wonderful people I've ever known. Without them, I wouldn't be the person I am today without them. And I don't say that as bad towards my parents and my upbringing and my schools. They also did what they needed to as well. And they actually helped me be able to integrate so well with people in general. But the School for the Blind also told me it's okay to have a visual condition. It's okay to be blind. It's okay to it's okay to have vision loss, and it's okay to not be able to do things the same way as your sighted peers, because it is different. Your life is different. You have to live your life different. And a lot of people view your life or view you as different. And as much as you try to say that you live the same life as your neighbor next door, you don't. Mm-hmm. You can't get in your car. You can't just go to the store. You can't just say, I'm going to go pick up that new computer game at Best Buy. That you don't really do that anymore anyway. But, when you're growing up, I can't go get Microsoft Office from Best Buy or Target or whatever. I can't go buy all the things for my family, in a 5-minute drive to the store.
Right.
And I know people think that that's like not a big deal, but it is when you have a car and you could get in and say, all right, going to the store, be back in 5 minutes, grab what you need and go. I live a 10-minute walk from Walgreens. And that's 10 minutes there, 10 minutes back. Whereas somebody here at the Triangle can get in their car and, just drive across the street and be there and then leave. It's 2 minutes for them, 10 minutes for me. And, when I decide, oh, Michael's out of Diet Dr. Pepper, which happens a lot and sometimes I'm like, I'm going to make a midnight run just to go get something. It still takes me 10 minutes to get there and then 10 minutes to get back. It's not the same at all as just hopping in a car. And so when we have, people that, they look at somebody that's blind and say, well, they're the same as me. They're not. We're just not. And it's fine. That's okay. We're all different because we all have something to bring to the table. Whether we have sight, whether we don't, whether we can use our arms, whether we can't, whether we can walk, whether we can't, it doesn't matter. We all bring something to the table. And that's, to me, why I thank everybody in my life for having the opportunity to go to a school for the blind and also to be in school, in high school, because that made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I guess, a little bit more about your family, right? Like, explain to us kind of how you were, like, upbringing, since you kind of mentioned that, right? That'd be kind of a good question to follow up with, like, tell us a little bit about your family.
So I had a wonderful family. I've always been close to my family. And so I had my mother and father, and they both have worked all their lives, and now they're both retired. And my mother was worked in a lot of administrative jobs. My father was fire chief. And so hard work is very important to our family. And we don't do anything halfway. We get it done. And so then, I had wonderful grandparents. My grandmother on my dad's side was legally blind as well. And tiny little woman. And, but, she was very much wanted me to, she had her own opinions on things, and she probably had, she had a lot of good things and probably some stubborn things. Our whole family's very stubborn, just like me. And she was blind, totally blind in one eye and had some lower vision in the other. So she had to find ways to work around her apartment. The grandmother on my mother's side was very good at coming up with arts and crafts, and so she actually taught me how to discern things through textures at a young age. And so those things, family really helped me become the person I am today. And we had a bunch of family friends, along the way that were wonderful and, helped me integrate into the world by just being there. And, it was, I was able to also give them perspective on things because I was, around them, and I was, different from being fully sighted. But the other thing that people may not know is I was an adopted child at 36 hours. And so my biological family is not the family I grew up with. And, I think that I thank everybody, I think everybody that was involved in that, because, things happen for a reason, and I am where I am because of how family has been able to let me grow and prosper and be who I am, and to get to a part in my life where I am being a software developer by trade. So, it's amazing to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm just going to do a quick time check because I make sure here. It's 5:45 Eastern, 4:45 Central. About 15 minutes left, so any other chatters, feel free to put in your messages. But while we're waiting for chatters, we're not going to waste any more time. And we're going to kind of switch it up a little bit. We talk about family, kind of got, a little bit more about you. You kind of introduce yourself. So now we're going to kind of talk about some things that you are doing in terms of your work. Mm-hmm. So what kind of jobs have you had throughout your career? To kind of explain to people what you've done and kind of your career so far.
So I was very lucky to not have to be on Social Security growing up, and whenever I left high school. And so once I needed to start making money, I started working at the Austin Lighthouse. And it would surprise people to know that I actually worked in their warehouse picking orders. I worked in the 100 degrees all the way down to the 30 degrees or less. So it was very different. So I picked orders. I did all the things that, physical labor, and it was tough. But, when it's your first job and you're making $17 an hour, you don't complain.
Nope.
You don't complain. And then I volunteered to work with the training department in their training lab. So I taught computers and things like that, and I applied to be a trainer at their warehouse. And so I went from picking orders to training people how to pick orders. So
nice.
I was still out in the heat, but I was actually showing people how to use the electronic system that was accessible called their Vocalect. And it actually was a system, and because this channel is technical, I'm going to get kind of technical.
Go ahead. That's what this is about.
It was a system that actually hooked up to, through wireless. You wore a little device on your belt and then a headset, and you could talk to it. The speech synthesizer was terrible.
Oh,
and,
I'm sure.
And it had a barcode scanning gun where you could scan things, and then you would tell it how much you're putting in a location, count it out, put it in location, and then it goes into a system. That system is a warehouse management system, a WMS, and a WMS is usually ran on Microsoft SQL Server.
Oh, nice.
And so, there's hundreds of calls going to that server per hour. So later on, whenever I was working with the data team, I actually got to learn a lot about how that kind of stuff worked. And, I didn't stay in that position long because I was they needed me to be an accessibility specialist. But in between that, I'm getting ahead of myself. In between that, I was actually I taught at the Austin Lighthouse Technology Lab for 3 years. And then I went on to work at Chris Cole Center, the Chris Cole Rehabilitation Center, as a tech instructor. And that was wonderful. It was great. I really enjoyed working with those folks. And so much so that I did it again, but I'll get there. The Austin Lighthouse, had a offering that I took as a data specialist. So I went to that, then became an accessibility specialist with them. And then after a few years, Chris Cole had another position open that I took, going back to being a technology teacher with more responsibilities. And then I started working in the assistive technology unit, which has been my last job for about a year and a half. Now, or a year and 8 months. Now I'm actually doing a software development job, which is amazing. I'm not going to go into where and the details just yet. Once that has been made really official, I will, talk about it publicly. But it's just amazing getting to do the thing that I love for my job. So that's what's amazing to me. And I've always been also working on other apps and things like that. So I've had a wonderful career. I've gotten to work in a lot of accessibility related fields and technology training. I have to say though, I've done technology training and training in general for so long, it's kind of I'm good. I'm done. It's not something I'm really excited about doing. And so I'm so glad that I'm able to write code and make things work. It's really incredible that's my job now. So
That is awesome. So we've had a couple more chatters. Payon has just joined us, and his question was, what are your career goals for the next 5 years?
My career goal for the next 5 years is actually to be doing exactly what I'm doing now, working for the company that I'm working for.
Awesome.
I want to keep working on the apps on the side that I've been building for a while now, but my goal is to keep working on everything that I've been doing.
That is wonderful. So, we've kind of done, like I said, a whole wide range of questions, and like I said, it's definitely help, get people to know. But do you like Pepsi or Coke better? Payon asks.
I am a Diet Coke person. My favorite's Diet Dr. Pepper, but if I had to pick between Pepsi and Coke, it would be the Diet Coke because I don't do sugary drinks.
Okay, that is awesome. Yeah. And then we have a couple more questions before we're gonna wrap this thing up. And the next question that I have is, when did you move to Austin?
When I was 18, right as I finished high school, I went to the Chris Cole Center as a student. And then as soon as I finished Chris Cole, after I turned 19, I moved into my own apartment.
Nice. And that was actually going to be my other question is, besides like the Texas School for the Blind and that kind of training, was there any other sources of blindness skills training that you were a part of?
Just the Chris Cole Center. And unfortunately, whenever I was there, I was 18, and as I like to say, 18 and stupid, and I didn't take as much advantage of it as I could have. Fortunately, whenever I became a teacher there, I went through what's called immersion training, where you go under blindfold for 6 weeks, and I got more out of that training than I did whenever I went through the first time.
Okay, Payon asked a couple questions. One of them, Payon, I'm not going to ask on stream because it could get pretty political, and we're not going to start that. So that might be a question that we can ask privately, but I'm going to go ahead and finish out our questions. So, what I will ask, like I said, we've got about 6 minutes left, is that what are your least favorite foods?
That's a good question.
Oh?
Oh, man, what are my least favorite foods? There are a few things I don't care for. I am not a fan of I think there are some seafoods that I don't care for. Most of it I do love. But there's just sometimes the texture is not my favorite. But like my crab is not my favorite seafood. I'll eat it. It's not my favorite. Unless you have it like with cheese and other kind of stuff that masks a lot of the really sharp taste. The one thing I do not like at all is coconut. I hate coconut. I do not care for. I'm also that kind of weird person that at Thanksgiving I don't really care for cranberry sauce, or
I don't either.
Things like that.
There's some.
I don't care for. Let's see. Don't care for beets. I don't care for I don't care for ranch. That is one of the things. I do not like ranch. I have never cared for ranch dressing. Now, if it's a ranch rub, like a dry rub on chicken, I'm good with that. I don't mind that. but I'm a fan of most foods, and that's kind of my problem there.
All right. We are getting a ton of chat messages, and
All right.
we're going to run out of time.
Well, we can extend it if we still got chat messages going.
Well, we do, but speech chat is reading everything 3 times. So.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Yeah, speech chat is not working very well.
I wonder if you have multiple tabs open.
No, I don't.
Weird.
Speech chat. Payon. Oh, he's saying that it's not cool that... He's saying that I don't think this is going to work out anymore, Michael, if you don't like ranch. Payon.
We can't be business partners.
Oh, well, you're just going to have to deal with it. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see. Let me try to, I'm going to have to go back and read some of these because they were all coming in at once. Doug Oliver says, what are your favorite fruits?
Favorite fruits? I love bananas. I love apples. If you consider grapes a fruit. I guess they're kind of. I love. I do like peaches. I like anything sour. I love sour fruits. Not as much. I mean, I like bananas, but that's different. But my favorite things are very sour. You know, if I drink a smoothie, I like very sour smoothies. So, cherries, strawberries. All those are good.
All right. So, Michael, I'm sorry. I almost called you by your real name, Payon, because you...
Well, you did call him by his real name, but...
Well, I started to. But, he said that you have failed us. How dare you, Michael? Taylor, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Honey mustard is the best thing to put on salad, just saying.
Well... Anyways, Payon also asks, what's your least favorite thing about the iPad?
Least favorite thing about the iPad? The fact that I can't get access to the file system.
Yep.
It's a computing device that can't do most of the computing things.
So, Fantastic Way 84 says, would you be interested in trying gaming in a VR immersive platform?
Very much so. I use some VR glasses called the Patriot Viewpoint, and they are a VR headset that lets me. It actually enlarges things immensely, and it's a Gear VR headset, and it uses the Samsung Galaxy S8 as its camera, and it works really well. And so I think VR would work for me. I've never actually had the chance to put on a VR headset and try games, even though it's been out forever. So it's something that I've been wanting to play with.
Okay. Let's see. Do you have to have noise in background while sleeping? Payon asks.
Yes, usually I will turn on a book or I will listen to my favorite thing in the world. And actually I pay for this. It's called thunderstorm sounds on the Echo. And you could just say, "Hey lady, play thunderstorm sounds." And it will, it's like $1 a month. And I really like it because it will actually play high quality thunderstorm sounds for as long as you leave it on. So, if I'm not feeling well or if I'm sick, I'll just leave it on, and it's comforting. And yes, I am comforted by the sound of thunder. I am strange. So I will just turn that on, and I love it.
Payon also asks, are you a side or back sleeper?
This is kind of some personal questions here, Payon. It's actually interesting. I'm glad that I actually know you. Otherwise, I'd be like, I'm not going to answer that.
Yeah, I know.
No, I sleep on my side because I totally snore on my back. So I try to always do that because, yeah, I don't want to shake down the house.
And Fantastic Way 84 says, thanks. Echo is my wake word, so thanks, Mike.
Oh, sorry.
And I just set it off again, so you can say thanks, Taylor. Okay. Let's see. What's your favorite game?
My favorite game. I think my absolute favorite game has been. I play Minecraft because it's relaxing, but it's not my favorite game. My favorite game is anything in the Phantasy Star series because it's an RPG and it's a high sci-fi RPG and just really flashy. I like things that are very colorful. And believe it or not, I know this sounds silly, but I like cartoons and anime because they are easy for me to focus on and see because of the amount of color in them. And so I like, all the live action. I love all the TV shows, and I'm a total Marvel fan. I love all those movies and things. But I love very colorful things because of the contrast. It's easier to see. So that's why naturally those things are easy to process. So I like a lot of those games, and a lot of that kind of stuff is easy to see on the Xbox.
All right. Payon asks, do you lock your doors at night?
Yes, Payon. Yes, I do. I'm not like you with your awesome Simply Safe. But yes.
Okay.
Now Payon's just throwing out questions to keep the chat going is what he's doing.
I know. Fantastic84 says, well, I guess I'll have to change it to Ziggy. That's an option.
That one's always kind of interesting to me. That's why I always say a lady, because it can represent Amazon, and I'll say cancel to help everybody out there whose devices just got triggered. Talk about the word triggered. But I don't know that I like the name Ziggy. It's just weird, especially if they have the male voice, but I don't know.
I didn't know.
Alexa will always be her name to me because that's how these devices started, right? It's a branding, and I feel like they're putting too much into, let's just give this thing more voices, even though when you talk about the Echo, cancel. When you talk about that device, you're not talking about Ziggy. You're talking about a lady. That is just the name. Mm-hmm. That's just. It's like, I'm going to get a soda, or I'm going to get a Coke. You're not actually getting a Coca-Cola. You're getting Diet Dr. Pepper. Or I'm going to go buy an MP3 player. People say, I'm going to buy an iPod. No, you're buying a, hopefully not a Zune, because, and these are devices from a long time ago. But the same things apply.
Yep. Payon asked, why do you guys do these social lounges on Clubhouse?
So we do a social lounge on Clubhouse just to get people together, just to talk about technology, and it's so that people can learn and we can learn about things from other people and to network. That's why we do a lot of those kind of things, is to get people interested in tech and get them talking and to really bring the conversation out, because I feel like people use technology and they have it, but they don't want to talk about it. And let me tell you, there are so many bad things going on in the world, folks. Between a pandemic, between all these things that are going on, let's come up with things that we're all passionate about, that we can talk about, that will get us to think positively and to be creative and to come out with new and cool stuff. That's what it's all about, folks.
All right. And last question, unless we have more. Payon asks, do you like scary movies?
Yes, I do. But they're not my favorite. I love, a lot of different other types. But I will watch a good scary movie. If it's a good movie. I've seen a few. I don't like, I don't remember the term, but I'm going to call it jump horror, where things jump out at you and that's the whole point of the movie. I am not for that. That's just boring. But I like movies that make you think. I like movies that will, make you like. So the scary to me, and different people feel differently on this. There's 2 Apple TV Plus shows right now. One's called Servant, and people think that is it's from a horror writer, M. Night Shyamalan, and people think that is the creepiest show on Apple TV. To me, it's not. I mean, it's creepy. There's some weird, messed up stuff that happened in that show, but it's not creepy. Now, Calls, on the other hand, that messed with my mind. And it's great. It makes you think. It puts you on edge. And that's the goal. So I think scary means, what's scary to people is different based on the person. So, like, Calls was a lot more creepy and scary to me than Servant. So it's interesting where people see what's creepy and what's not.
Fantastic Wit 84 says, good stream, y'all. I need to go work on some stream stuff for my friend's channel.
All right, we're glad you stopped by.
Payon says, do you have any words that drive you crazy?
Okay. Taylor, you know this one.
I do, but I'm not going to say a word.
There is 2 things. There are curse words in the English language. But to me, they're not curse words. Every word can be a curse word based on intent. And we're not talking about the Siri shortcuts kind. No. Programming joke.
I got it.
I see two curse words, and I have 2 curse words in my vocabulary. One is fail. A person never fails, only is given learning opportunities. We never fail. When we fail, it's because, we've made the decision to do so. And the second word, that's the bigger curse word, is the word can't. I cringe anytime somebody says the words, I can't do this. I can't make this work. I can't see how to make this work. Or, I just can't anymore. That's, to me, the biggest curse word in the English language. And so, it just drives me crazy anytime somebody says that, because there's always a way where if you have enough will, you will always find a way to make something happen. And I want to give an example of this. There are people in the world who have it really good, but there are people in the world that do not. And there are people in the world that have no sight. In a world full of sight, there are people in the world who are able to do the same things that everybody else can. And then there's people in the world who have full sight and they're homeless because they lost the will to try. And then we have people in the world that are in positions where you have to fight for everything, and then you say, I'm going to do what I need to do to survive, and then you do more than that, you thrive. And it's just, when you see people actually do what they're supposed to do, or what they can do, and not just what they can do, but what they want to do, that is where you can say to these other people that say, I can't, and you say, look, there are people just like you. They have found the will to succeed and thrive in their lives. And by changing to the word can't to, I may not be able to do this right now, But if I want to, I can, by figuring out the way to solve this problem. And once you get your mind into that mindset, then you're going to move mountains if you want to. You will reach the stars, even if you're not able to do it at that time. You know, I never thought, I always thought that I never thought I was good enough for a long time to be a software developer. And I was in that can't do this as a full-time job. And, you know, just writing apps, being around, being around the right people and places. And, you know, just having Taylor here telling me, you can do that. You need to apply for that job. You need to go and do this. You know, you've built amazing stuff. Just that push from friends and the people closest to me helped me overcome a hurdle in my life and do what I needed to do. So that's why I always say, fail and can't. Two biggest words I can't stand.
All right, let's see what we have here. I already answered this, but what are you watching on Apple TV right now?
Right now, found on Apple TV, Foundation, and I will be starting Season 2 and The Morning Show. And there's 2 other shows I want to see, and I don't remember the names, but
okay.
It's an alien invasion show. So, yep, that's it.
We got another question. Doug Oliver says, as technology changes, do you ever get frustrated with changes in hardware and software technology?
No, the opposite. The first thing I do when a new version of iOS comes out, like when iOS 16 comes out, you know what the first thing I do is?
Get it.
I get it, but I go open the settings app and I'm like, okay, what'd they change? Mm-hmm. Like, it's like Christmas for me. Like, ooh, what new shiny things did we get? Then I go to the Shortcuts app. What new actions did we get? It's like, or when new technology comes out, like a new Mac, I'm like, I want to have my hands on it. I want to see how fast it runs, what I can do. New APIs come out, like, okay, I want to try this thing in an app. It's things like that. I actually hate stagnation. I love things to change. Change is the only constant in the world, and I love change. I absolutely love it. So I embrace change. I actually do worse if things stay the same. This is why I get a new iPhone every year. This is why I have new Apple Watches. This is why I'm so into tech, because the constant in technology is change. Everything's going to change in less than 6 months. So I want to be there at the forefront of all of it and see, that's why I would love to go to CES every year. I would be a kid in a candy store at that place.
Yeah, that's awesome. Doug Oliver also said, thank you guys. You really have really inspired you. So, inspired me and helped me out. So thank you both. And yeah, with that, I don't see any more chatters. And yeah, this has been awesome, y'all. We've really gotten to see and enjoy Michael, and hopefully you guys have been able to ask great questions. We'll probably do more of these more frequently. So, be on the lookout.
Yep. It's been awesome to be here.
All right, but I don't see any more chat messages, and we've gone over time, which is totally cool. But I think, y'all, that will be it. Feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. Got more content coming on this channel as well as mine, Tay's Tech Talks. Why do I keep doing that? Tay's Tech Talks. So.
Yep. All right, and if you want to follow me, you can. I'm Mike Dowies on Twitter. If you want to send a friend request, Michael Dowies on Facebook. You can email me at mikedowies@icloud.com, or pretty much take Mike Dowies and put any email service at the end, and you're. So, and yeah.
All right, y'all. Well, I think that'll do it for today's stream, and I look forward to talking with you guys later, and we'll have more streams.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Bye, everyone.